52. That's the Nothing Personal word of the day. It is Monday, June 2nd, 2025. We're back. It's early. If you're in the Central Time Zone, it's 6 a.m. If you've been watching us at 8 a.m. every day since October of 2019, it's only 7 a.m. 2 hours of stuff to go through today, tomorrow, Wednesday, every day from here on in. A thank you to Metalark, a thank you to DraftKings, a thank you to the great people from Patrick Kim to the great IT department and RG Systems and Matthew Coca. I could go on. We've got a team of people bringing you Nothing Personal now every day. We've got a team, Coca. It's no longer just Crystal Gale and Eddie Rabbit, just you and I. Jack's even listening. I wanted to start new logo. Go to davidsamsonpodcast.com. We have new merch with the new logo. New music. I wanted the perfect start to the show. Racking my brain, not just this weekend, but thinking I've known this was happening for weeks, been teasing it in my own funny way for months. There's no way that it occurred to me that the first thing we'd talk about is the fact that the New York Knicks have not won an NBA title in 52 years. I didn't want to start negatively. I want to be positive. I want this to be the new me. No cynicism. Plenty of singing, plenty of discussion of what goes on in rooms that used to be mysterious that we can unveil, strip away the mystery. We can talk politics and culture and entertainment and sports. We can talk baseball. There's no way we're starting with the Knicks and the fact that the Indiana Pacers beat them in 6 games because they're a better team. Not doing it. There's no way that I was interested in starting this new show watching a team that doesn't get back on defense and gets beaten on the fast break after made hoops time and time again. Not doing it. There is no way that I'm going to start this new, amazing, Nothing Personal 2-hour show by telling you that when you look at a Knicks team that has a payroll clearly at the top, clearly made up of players making the max, clearly not even close to good enough to win a title, not starting with it, Coca. I'm not going to think about the fact that at 57 years old, I became a Knicks fan in 1974 at the age of 6 and missed a title by a year and haven't seen one since. Not doing it. I can't bear the fact, and it gave me such thoughts of 18 years in Major League Baseball. Do you know how absolutely awful it is to look at a pitcher, to look at a game, to look at your team, and not even be able to delude yourself? Because when you're president of a team, delusion is one of the things you traffic in. You embrace it. You snuggle with it at night after a loss. You can't look at the Knicks team and say they were better than the Pacers. Hard stop. So the Indiana Pacers go to the finals. All of the conspiracy theories, Adam Silver wants the Knicks in the finals, and we told you on Nothing Personal back when it was just a 1-hour show. I think we mentioned, man, there's not one owner or commissioner who wants anything good out of James Dolan, for James Dolan, with James Dolan. Don't want it. They've got the big NBA TV contracts already. They can find a way to do some make goods if Oklahoma City wins in 4, or if only 6 people watch it. The finals between the Thunder and the Pacers, which start on Thursday night. The talk, I don't know why the NBA allowed this. Rick Carlisle, upon being given the Eastern Conference winning interview trophy, everybody's talking about TNT and Coca. I must have been on the opposite side of this issue from everybody. Welcome to Nothing Personal. Inside the NBA has been licensed to ESPN exactly as they are. Literally, it is being produced by the same people who produced it. It's sort of like what we do with DraftKings and with Meadowlark. We do our show, we license our show to Meadowlark, who licenses the show to DraftKings and DraftKings Network, and there you go. Here we are, where it's 8:06 if you're watching this on DKN. All of the tears, everyone saying, David, you're a totally robotic bastard. How can you not feel for the people losing their jobs? I have more concern about people on the Knicks scouting staff and development staff losing their jobs than people at inside the NBA, where the show will continue. Did you realize how good Pascal Siakam was? Did anybody realize that the Knicks had no answer for him? And that having Haliburton's great, having Nesmith is fine, having Turner is good? I just kept watching. Let me bring you back, because tonight would have been Game 7, and I wouldn't have had to use 52 years. I was all ready to have Game 7 as the word of the day. But I'm watching this game, and I'm watching the fact that my team that I used to love, that I don't have that feeling for anymore because I lost the right to be a fan when I learned how the sausage was made. I lost that feeling of absolute despair, and with it came the feeling of absolute joy. Those extremes, it's like I'm on some sort of medicine where I'm now down the middle and blasé the whole time, trying to find a way back to fandom, and then just getting crushed by watching these players play. And then I had a kernel of a moment, Coca, one little kernel of a moment, when the MVP trophy was being handed out at the end, the Larry Bird Trophy, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and I'm watching it get announced, and it's live, and Tyrese Haliburton does a little dapper. Is it a dapper? A dap? A dab? Whatever he did, it's as though he thought he was going to win. It's, oh, no, it's Pascal. I like Haliburton. I mean, no. I like Siakam. I mean, no, the Pacers, remember, back when I had the feelings, the 90s, Reggie Miller. By the way, what a homer. Could barely listen. Well, what else made me laugh about the Knicks game? Not the whole John Mellencamp thing, Coca. I'm not even going to talk about it. The whole thing's so ridiculous. Pat McAfee standing up before the game, calling out the New York City celebrities, showing Jenner and Chalamet and everybody else who's at the game. And then Mellencamp being all butthurt, saying, oh, God, this is not the Hoosier state I live in. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're fine. Just know that there's people like Pat McAfee, and then there's old people. And I sort of traffic in the middle. I totally get what McAfee was doing, and I totally understand why John Mellencamp would say, hey, that ain't Hoosier that I'm used to. But isn't anything that makes you feel as though you are important, anything that makes you feel as though you're cool, anything that makes you feel like something you're not to the positive, don't we all try to do that? It's not just Indiana or places in the Midwest. It's not just, there are people in New York who do it, who rely on the fact, oh, I'm a New Yorker, and it covers all the things that ail them or all of the reasons why they are normal. I think about that with you, Coca, and with me. It's really just another form of imposter syndrome is what it is. But the Pacers should not feel that way in the least. The Pacers are a quality Eastern Conference representative, although there's 4 or 5 teams that could have stood up to represent the Eastern Conference while they get their butts whooped by the Thunder. Just you wait. We'll talk about it before the series starts Thursday. It is June 2nd. Hello. My name's David Samson. Welcome. At the beginning of every month, we made a commitment to you to go through the good and the bad in Major League Baseball, to give you predictions about what's going to happen next month, talk about what happened last month, because whether we're an hour or 2 hours, total accountability. Another month of the baseball season is over. It seems like yesterday to me that the Dodgers were sweeping the Cubs in Japan, starting the season 2-0. We are now 1/3 done with the regular season already. It is now, let me do my math. We are officially in the late beginning of the middle. Come on. For all the new audience out there, there's early, there's late, there's mid. Don't panic till it's late, but sometimes it's late early. Sometimes it's late mid, and you got to start trading away all your players. Right now, it's about mid, 1/3 of the way done with the season. I want to talk about things that happened in May that were good that you may not be paying attention to, except for, by last calculation, there are about 2.6% of you paying attention to this. The Detroit Tigers are the best team in Major League Baseball. They went 19-9 in May, which reminded me of when I would keep track on my bulletin board of every month what our record was, what the game results were. I would do it manually. What our attendance was. I had a huge bulletin board that I think I still have somewhere. May is when I can reach. April, I needed a chair. I could reach May. By September, I'm on my knees writing stuff. That's how big the blackboard was. And I would write down what monthly results were. A 10-over month. That is what you think about when you want to be great. When you want to be fine and not lose the season, you want to have 500 months. A 19-9 month is exactly what you'd expect from the Tigers, who are the best team in baseball. There is no analysis needed. One of the things that we used to enjoy in the front office, all of the people who would get on the air, all the people who would start analyzing and talking about all the things that we knew we were doing or not doing. And we would tell everyone, there's a few things that we look at. And it's a pretty simple equation. If you can pitch, if you can hit, and if you can field, and you do it better than other people in your league, you're going to have a winning record. When you've got a Cy Young Award-winning ace, an ace on your staff who's pitching like an ace, you are more likely than not to be good. There are plenty of people who have number ones and aces on bad teams, but I'm talking about combining it with stats like average, runs scored, home runs. Do you know the Detroit Tigers are third in ERA in the American League? Do you know that they are second in runs scored? Hold on, let me just think about this. They don't give up runs and they score runs. Hold on, that may be good. They have a plus 86 run differential. You may all ignore that stat. We never did. If you are below 500 with a plus 86 run differential, it's going to work out for you during the course of a season. I don't want to get anyone confused, but I want to give you a quick basketball nugget. If you're playing a team that's shooting 80% from the field in the first half and you're only down by 3 points, you're going to win the game. In baseball, if you are a team that is second in defense, meaning you've had the second fewest errors, and you pitch, you have the third lowest ERA, and you score runs, you have the second number of runs scored, and you have an 86 positive run differential, you don't need to go deeper. You win. Hard stop. My pick for American League manager, you'll hear in a few minutes, may not win. But man, A.J. Hinch has got those Tigers, always got those Tigers roaring. And while it's still mid, they are not, I repeat, they are not a fantasy. They are a straight reality. If you want fantasy and good, hold on. Who doesn't want fantasy and good? I think that may be the best. But anyway, let's talk about the Minnesota Twins. They were really good in May. They did that thing that we talked about when you're 10 over. They were 18-8, best winning percentage in the American League. They recovered their entire season. They were 13-19 going into May. And obviously, when you're 6 under, you go 10 over. That means you're 4 over. You are right back in the thick of it. Here's the problem. They don't pitch as well, but they're fourth in ERA. They're 13th in home runs, 9th in average, 12th in OPS. Their run differential is only a positive 30. Not terrible, not great. The Minnesota Twins save their season. They become relevant. Rocco Baldelli has a chance now that he won't be fired during the course of the season, especially with the Twins undergoing an ownership change. Oh, wait, they have to find an owner first. This, what the Twins did, is the worst May you can have. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when you're out of it and you're entering May and you feel like your season is lost, even though you thought that you were going to have a good team and you established early that you're not playing up to your potential and you do a whole bunch of things, but then May comes and you don't have a good May, and then you have to realize that, hey, it's just not our season and we'll act accordingly. Have you ever been teased to believe that something's going to happen and the underlying factors, the environment indicate to you probably not? But then it sort of starts to happen and you feel like you're on the road to it happening. And then all of a sudden you look around and you're still alone and everybody's left with somebody else. You know what I'm talking about. That's the Twins. The Twins will be looking around at everybody else in October. But having a May like this makes you feel like, hey, I got a shot. I now have to stay with this. I can't sell. I can't cut payroll. I'm too close. Because now that we've had a May, once we've got a June, if we could just have a June at 500, 4 over going into July, we're in it. It is a miracle when recency bias actually doesn't color your decision-making process. It is harder than you think in every aspect of your life. Minnesota, during the course of this season, during the course of the month, Coca, they won like 13 in a row. Everyone just thought, they're back, baby. Fantasy. But still good. What about the Cardinals? Going over to the National League. The Cardinals have to be considered one of the great surprises of the season. The Cardinals had the best record in baseball this past month in May. They went 19-8. This is the St. Louis rebuilding Cardinals, sort of retooling. This is the Cardinals trying to figure out how they can be the Cardinals, but telling you the entire offseason, we don't have fans, we don't have TV money, something's got to give. What's giving is we're getting rid of Goldschmidt. What's giving is our payroll's on the way down. What's giving is our revenue's on the way down. What's giving is our performance is on the way down. And then they started playing the games. And now they have to figure out what the Twins are figuring out in the American League. Is this fantasy? Is this reality? Sometimes it's just a fantasy. If you look at what the Cardinals have, you could look at Brendan Donovan and say, this guy's going to get MVP votes. You could do that. You could look at the St. Louis Cardinals and say, God, they play good defense, which they do. Second in defense in the National League. You could look at their pitching and say, well, they're top 6 in ERA. You could look at their hitting and say, hey, they're third in average. They don't hit many home runs. You could look at their run differential and say, oh, it's the same plus 30 that the Twinkies are. And then you'd realize what John Mozeliak and the DeWitt family realizes, that it's fantasy, but now we got to ride it out. If you have good player personnel people and good scouts, do you know that they're all rooting for not the May that the Cardinals had? And I don't want to start anything by telling you that they're employees who root against their own team. But what I will tell you, they're employees who want the teams to perform the way they expect the teams to perform because they've got a plan. They've got a plan to trade a player or to develop certain players. They've got a plan to have a window open at a future date. But to do that, you have to not toil in mediocrity. You have to be bad enough that the owner and that the GM and that the fans understand exactly what you're doing. The problem is when you play a month of a baseball season where all of a sudden there's this vision that it could be something else. It can get in the way of a plan, and it can screw you up for years. The way you want to do it is the way the Nationals are doing it. The Nationals were expected to be bad. We're expecting to rebuild or in the middle of the rebuild. The Nationals are bearing the fruits of the Juan Soto trade. The Nationals have really quite an amazing young group of players. And the Nationals spent May going 15-12. Outstanding progress. You're Mr. Rizzo running that team, and you're saying, we're on this. We're doing this exactly according to the way we should. We've got 22-year-old overperforming players. James Wood is a great example. We've got pitching that is deep and good. They are a young team that had lost 7 straight. And then after that, in the middle of May, they went on 11-4 tear to finish 15-12. It's the exact thing you want to be able to tell your owner and your fans. Look at our progress. Look at our ability to go from World Series in 19, not being able to defend it in COVID, all of a sudden having to tear it down because they were losing their shirt. I promise you that's the case. And the learners do not suffer fools gladly and weren't going to do this forever. Wasting money, overpaying Strasburg, et cetera, Corbin, et cetera. You get young, you get smart, and then you have a period of time where you're going to finish in last, and then you start building it as the window opens, and then you bring in a veteran and you sign a free agent, and then you go because it's win time. A 15-12 month for the Nationals is the dream as compared to what happened in St. Louis and Minnesota. Even Detroit, where you're just saying, we're good, we're going to be good, we're going to win the division. If the Nationals can do a couple of 500 months after this, you finish the season between 78 and 84 wins, and you are exactly where you wanted to be this year. I give them credit for that. I want to end the good here, Coca, by talking about Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. It's got to be boring to people, although it is on the list of things we're supposed to talk about analytically. Apparently, there's a thing with listeners and viewers, if you're on the Nothing Personal with David Samson YouTube channel, hitting subscribe at 7:23 a.m. or the DK Network at 8:23. There's a thing. Talk Cowboys, talk Yankees, talk Dodgers, talk LeBron. I've seen the numbers. I get it. I understand when you're going after clicks and you're going after views, going after RSS feeds, going after Pablo. I get it. But I'm only mentioning Judge and Ohtani because they're so good. And we're talking about what was good in the month of May. How about Aaron Judge hitting 364 with 11 homers? How about Shohei Ohtani hitting 309 with 15 homers? Judge and Ohtani are, I assume, Coca, I didn't check. We were doing so much with new graphics and new sound and a new look. I didn't have you look. Judge has to be the overwhelming favorite right now for MVP in the AL. Ohtani has to be the overwhelming favorite for MVP in the NL. Repeat, are they both unanimous with the way they're playing? Judge certainly would be at this point. The guy's not hitting 400, but damn close. Ohtani, it appears, can just hit home runs whenever he so chooses. It's not just that they're the biggest names, the most popular names. They're actually performing, which makes me feel badly, actually, for Cal Raleigh. And it's not that I'm taking up Mina Kimes and what her whole raison d'etre is to bring more attention to this guy. What I will tell you is Cal Raleigh is leading the major leagues in home runs right now with the Mariners. The guy's got 23 homers. He had an amazing May. Hit 12 homers, batted .304. They're the 3 top offensive players right now. Can you imagine wasting a season of Shohei Ohtani? This is what was in my head yesterday, Coca, as we're putting all this together, sort of thinking about where we are. How do we talk about Ohtani? And I kept thinking about the Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles. how crappy it is. And then, of course, I did what I do, which is what we all do. What does this have to do with me? Where do I fit into this? Do you not think after all these years that I don't look at Stanton, Yelich, Ozuna, JT, Realmuto, and you don't think that I think to myself, how did we have all those players and never win 81 games? You don't think after this many years it still doesn't come up? Because it does come up. Absolutely. Do you think that's what the Angels are going to say forever about Ohtani? I think they have to. I think they're going to have to say it about Mike Trout too. I got a stat for you. It's an Ohtani Judge MVP stat, since likely they're both going to win again. If Ohtani and or Judge win the MVP this year, that means at least one of them will have won the MVP since 2021. That'll be 5 straight years. It's hard to be good for that long. You're going back to Barry Bonds. You're going back to people where there is a level of performance over a period of time that is rare. It's extraordinary. It's really difficult to do. Hey, I think this is our first break, Coca. So here's how it's going to work. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to review a movie. Does that sound familiar? And then we're going to get into what was bad in Major League Baseball, because for as much good as there was in May, there was bad too. We'll do that all after the break. Yes. How was that break? Thank you for subscribing, being a part of this relaunch show. Doing 2 hours of show for you every day gives us a chance to cover so many more topics that we would not have gotten to. We will have guests on each Tuesday and Thursday. Please do not forget to listen to Coca on Friday, when he's the permanent Friday second hour co-host. And now I'd like you to get out your phone. Get out your notes app on your phone. 631 DPS 4869. That number again is 631 DPS 377 4869. Give it a call. Leave a voicemail with any question you want to hear during a Wednesday show. We may play your voicemail if it's not a 5-minute rambling voicemail. Call up, say, "Hi, David, I've got a question." And then I'll answer the question if it's good, if it's reasonable. 631-377-4869. You've got this. We're trying something new in the review. Each day we will do a review, whether it's a movie, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a Broadway play, whatever it is. And in addition to, of course, I still will watch a movie or something every single day for decades. I will still do that. We're going to tell you what we're going to review tomorrow, just in case you want to watch it in advance, or just in case you want to be aware. It used to be a surprise to the audience. And Coca said, why make it a surprise? And I said, because sometimes I don't know what I'm going to watch. And Coca said, be better. Okay, here we go. Tomorrow on the review, we will review Hacks Season 4. If you have not finished Season 4, finish it. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But for today, the review, do we have a special thing like on the video where it goes whoosh and out comes the review segment? I don't know if we have that, Coca. I saw that like in a rehearsal once. Nope. All right. Yes. Yes. If you're not watching this, you have no idea what happened. But if you are watching this, that was amazing. That was like weeks of work right there. The animation for the review. No music accompanying that. I think we should play music going forward with that. Some sort of, not like a Siskel and Ebert music, but some sort of, maybe our music. Did you notice the music change? That's a very rough transition to the name of this movie. You can tell we still don't have a script. We still go according to what's in my brain. Can you hear the music as it relates to the review? And what we're reviewing is Deaf President Now. Boy, I don't know how that happened, Coca. Let's talk about this. This is a movie on Apple. This is a movie about a 1988 situation at Gallaudet University. This is a situation where a new president was elected by the board to lead the university, and it was a hearing president because there had always been hearing presidents at Gallaudet, which is the world's foremost, if not only, all-deaf university. If you are lucky enough in D.C. to go to Gallaudet, you will find yourself learning. You will find yourself surrounded by people like you. You will find comfort. You will find growth. And you will find amazing, amazing activities. What you hadn't found ever was a deaf president. Well, it turns out it went too far in 1988. It turns out that the students said, "Gnug," and they started protesting. They locked down the campus, literally with padlocks. They wanted to negotiate with the chairman of the board, the chairwoman of the board. They had demands that needed to be met. There was a hearing president who tried to say, no, I get you. I've got this. And the students didn't stop. This documentary is brilliant. It is engaging, intriguing, important. When you want to be represented by people who look like you, who sound like you, who think like you, you have the right to that representation, but you also have the requirement to acknowledge that an echo chamber may not be the way to go. And then you have the right to realize that echo chamber and similarity and democracy, being hearing impaired, being deaf, shouldn't even be part of the equation. You begin to realize that what the students wanted was someone qualified, but someone who could absolutely communicate with them, not through an interpreter, someone who could understand what it is to be deaf, to have that level of empathy. And they ended up with a deaf president. And they interview everybody, all the people. And here we are, basically, over 30 years later, 35 years later, seeing who these students who led this protest, how they grew up, who they are now, seeing who the deaf president was, seeing the old president, the chairwoman of the board. I strongly suggest this documentary. That is the review. Let's go back to what was bad. We gave you the good of May. It's nice. That was a glass half full segment. Now let's go to the bad. All right. I would like all Mets fans, including you, Coca, to just take a breath. Take one quick breath. And don't be upset because the Mets are in first place. I get it. And as a consequentialist, that's all that matters to me, is that they're in first place. That should be all that matters to you. All this talk about Juan Soto, I've had enough of it. In May, Juan Soto is so bad. We have to talk about it. We have to talk about that he hit 219 with 6 home runs. We have to talk about that his OPS is lower than career. Obviously, power. Obviously, ribbies. We have to talk about the fact that this season he's hitting in the 230s for reals. We have to talk about the fact that he's becoming a distraction. He's so bad. They moved him in the lineup from 2 to 3. Your best hitter hits at 2. Year 1 of 15, rough. Oh, that's right. It's been 1/3 of a year. Do you know what it is in Juan Soto's Mets career? It's not mid-mid. It's not late early. It's not mid-early. It is so early that it's really, We didn't even get to the in early. That's how early it is. All of the people saying he's not living up to the hype, he's not earning his money. For $765 million, I expect no slumps over the course of 15 years. That is how you show me you don't know one thing about baseball. Without saying you don't know one thing about baseball. Every single person panicked about Juan Soto doesn't know squat about nothing. He's going to be exactly who he is over the course of the next decade. He is not going in any way to disappoint. He will not be able to live up to that contract because it's too much money to pay any baseball player, no matter how big your payroll is. The Mets have an opportunity to win a World Series with him. They have an opportunity to win divisions, to go deep into playoffs, to go deeper than they did last year and actually make it back to the World Series. Absolutely. Juan Soto will have seasons where he's over 300. He'll have seasons when he's hitting 250. He'll have seasons with 45 home runs and seasons with 35 home runs. He'll be hurt. He'll miss time. He'll be healthy and ineffective. He'll be healthy and effective. How do you not look at Juan Soto and say, this is sort of like a 15-year relationship? Yeah, I see people on the crapper. I smell people, which I don't, early in the morning. I see people dressed up for a black tie affair. And I see people just on an ordinary Sunday looking beautiful in sweatpants. When you're with someone long enough, you see everything. You could delude yourself into thinking that it's always all good because you want to pretend that it is. Or you can tell yourself it's always all bad, and then you can change your status quo. But the truth is, when you're with someone long term, the way the Mets will be with Soto, you're going to get a little bit of everything. Do not be colored or swayed or concerned or nervous or allow the media to engage with your tendencies to panic. The media loves this. They love to stir it up and to tell you Juan Soto is a disgrace. Juan Soto's doing terribly. Juan Soto's going to bring the team right down into the crapper. Clicks, man, listens. Here's what Juan Soto is. He's fine. Except he had a bad May. Mark Kotsay's not going to win Manager of the Year. That's a callback to my season-long predictions when I told you that he would, except he's not. How bad were the Athletics this month? They were over 500 when May started. They're now in last place. They got outscored by 78 runs in a month. Do you know how hard it is to have a minus 78 run differential in 1 month? Any idea how hard that is? Do you know that going 7-21 in a month is as hard as going 21-7? Hold on till I get to the Rockies. Being as bad as the Aths were, if I'm the owner of the Aths, John Fisher, I don't care because I'm building a stadium in Vegas and I'm trying to get partners in at a $2 billion valuation. I barely can stand being in Sacramento. I know that my team isn't happy and comfortable in a minor league ballpark. I know that my team is struggling at home and I don't care. Whoosh. I'm going to forget these seasons so fast. It's like they will have been erased by Arnold Schwarzenegger. We're merely in the first 2 months of the erasure. But man, were they bad. The good news is, no matter how bad anybody is, they will never be as bad as the Colorado Rockies. The Colorado Rockies lost their 50th game yesterday, which is just incredible. They went 4-24 in May, which is just out of this world crappy. Fired their manager. Even the White Sox last year, who broke the record as being the worst team ever, were 15-43 at this point. And the Rockies are 9-50. I don't know what can you say? It's the worst record. Often you'll hear stats like, oh, it's the worst in the live ball era, the modern era. I don't care who you are. Going 9-50, you can go back to the Civil War. That's how bad it is. I think their run differential is like 185 runs. Here's the bottom line. The Colorado Rockies are going to break the White Sox record. It's guaranteed. They're going to lose more than 121 games. And here's the crazy part of the math. Do you know what they have to do? They're 9-50, which sounds terrible. In order to be as bad as the White Sox were last year, I'm going to do a little math for you. It's going to freak you out. If they go 33-70 the rest of the way, they don't break the record. 33-70 stinks. Going 33-70 over any 103 game stretch is how people get fired. And if they manage to go 33-70, they won't break the White Sox record. They'll only lose 120 games. And guess what? No Chance toilet pants. Also still available on davidsamsonpodcast.com. Go to that website where you can catch all sorts of things, including new merch. Order today. Do you know that the Rockies' chance of going 33-70 for the rest of the time is 0.1? I like reviewing predictions. I really do. I like the whole accountability. Coca's really good at this. At the end of every show, he goes on to davidsamsonpodcast.com. If you click the parallel colored lines, you'll get to the drop-down menu where you can hit shop and buy some cool new merch. Or you can go to a tracking document which shows every weight to see, every word of the day, every nothing personal pick of the day. It shows everything. I like that accountability. We need it more in this society. Back in May, when we did a show on May 1st or May 2nd, we do our predictions for May. We're going to revisit them, and then we're going to give you our predictions for June. I told you when May started that it sounds so bizarre, so early in the season, but the people leading the division on May 1st are the people who are going to be leading the division on June 1st. It makes you sort of sad, doesn't it, when you're a few games back and you think, oh, we can catch this team. We've got this. Well, guess what? No change. The first place teams, Yankees, Tigers, Mariners, Mets, Cubs, Dodgers, they were there. They're still there. I had a sort of negative prediction in May that I told you that Aaron Judge, there's no way he's going to be hitting above 400 by the time May ends. It's really hard to hit 400. I believe he ended April like hitting 414. Aaron Judge made my prediction come true. God, does he stink. He was only hitting 398 after May. A win's a win, Dave. That's below 400. I also told you that May is the month where teams start to think, hey, I can make a change here. Let me fire my manager, and I can turn this season around. The Colorado Rockies fired Bud Black. Boy, did they turn their season around. No problem. The Pittsburgh Pirates fired Derek Shelton. Don't worry, they turned their season around. No problem. Don't worry, the Baltimore Orioles fired their manager. They're going to turn their season around. Don't worry. 3 managerial changes. I told you someone would get fired. I also told you there would be a 7-game winning streak and a 7-game losing streak. That seems like a lot to have to lose during the course of a month or a lot to have to win, but we had it nailed. The aforementioned Twinkies gave you a 13-game winning streak, and the Athletics gave you an 11-game losing streak. Guess what that is? That's a yes when it comes to predictions. Time to go to June. Pay attention. You are about to hear, with all of the fanfare and the music that comes from pressing button 69, Coca, hit it. Hit it. It's the celebration button, 69. Boop. No, we don't have it. Boop. That's sort of a Schitt's Creek sound, isn't it? All right, I guess we're just doing our June predictions. Here we go. Everybody in St. Louis, get ready. You know I love you. I got to get back to St. Louis for a tour stop for a live Nothing Personal episode. Huh. Could there be a 2025 tour in the making? Wouldn't that be interesting to come to a city near you? It's as though we're working on all sorts of things at once. The St. Louis Cardinals, as good as they've been, my thought for you, because they had a good May, I'm slightly concerned about their long-term viability as a contender. And when you get concerned about a contender, guess what that means? That means that a June prediction is that the Cards are going to play below 500 baseball during the course of the month. Now, you may say to yourself that when you've had such a good May that you can stand a 500 June and still be in a race. Correct. Absolutely correct. But when I look at how the Cardinals are winning and I think about the underlying assets and how they're overperforming, that's the whole fantasy versus reality concept. I view the Cards as having a problem. They will regress to the mean that we expected from them, and I expect them to have a below 500 month. That's official, Coca. I'll give you another official prediction about the Minnesota Twins. See, do you know where my head is? Now, you remember the good, and we compared the Twins, Cardinals, Tigers, sustainable, not sustainable, what it is about the underlying stats that make me feel as though the Twins likely are not the type of team they were in May. Yeah, then it would make sense that a June prediction would be that the Twins will be below 500. Prediction 3. For all of you Juan Soto fans, it's funny, I'm going to good and bad for my June predictions. Juan Soto is going to hit above 300 this month. As a matter of fact, this is sort of, it's not really cheating, Coca. I don't want to say it's cheating, but it does make me smile because it is June 2nd, and there was a game June 1st, and Soto did have a home run on June 1st, 2 days in a row of a home run, might I add. But I do think it is totally reasonable for Juan Soto to hit above 300 this month, so I'm going to predict it. The fourth thing I want to talk about as a prediction is as it relates to Judge and Ohtani. Another parallel to our good and bad segment. Let's start yesterday. Actually, is this cheating, Coca? I don't remember. I don't think Judge hit a homer yesterday. I don't think Ohtani hit a homer yesterday. So I think we're still good going into June 2nd. Judge will out-homer Ohtani. Why? As Ohtani starts to ramp up, and the Dodgers try to figure out, are they going to pitch him? Are they not going to pitch him? When are they going to pitch him? Will it be bullpen? No. Is he going to start? Yes. Is he going to go on rehab? No. Does he have to figure out how to progress on the mound, how to get his velo back, his spin, all those things? And me telling you it's really hard to do both well. Something's got to give, Jack Nicholson. And here's what's going to give only as it relates to Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge will out-homer Shohei Ohtani. Another prediction for June. Last one. It's been slow. It's been slow on the trade front, hasn't it? Last year at this time, there had already been a bunch of trades. The Marlins sold Arias to San Diego early last year, but that could have been 2 years ago, Coca. I'm completely forgetting how many years ago that was. Do you remember? Was that just last May? I don't know. And I don't hear you. But what I do know is that in June, given the fact we had nothing in May, sellers are going to sell. You have got to get your act together if you're a crappy team like the Orioles and recognize that this season is done. And you've got to figure out how to offload some money and how to see if you can get a prospect or two. If you can do both of those things, you do it. If you can only offload payroll, you do it. You cannot be embarrassed, even in this era of expanded wildcard. You cannot be embarrassed about being a seller. It is what it is. What you have to be embarrassed about is if you don't do it right. And the way you don't do it right is when you miss the market because of your delusion that, hey, we've got a new manager, we're going to turn this ship around. NGTH, baby, it's not going to happen. Sellers will have to start selling this June. All right, so the way this works is that in about a minute or so, we're going to have a break. This will be the end of the first hour, but you're not going to hear me say it's just business, this is nothing personal, because the show's not over. We're going to take a 3-minute break. Go to the restroom. If you're on the live stream, if you're on DK Network, we'll go to commercial break. We'll come back with another full show. If you're listening to this, this show will end. The next show is just going to start with the next story. But I'm going to end it with a stat of the day, stat of the day. We don't have the right to use Le Batard's stat of the day. Do you know that since May 2nd, the Colorado Rockies have as many wins as Scotty Scheffler had on the PGA Tour? The Rockies won 3 games since May 2nd, and Scheffler won 3 tournaments since May 2nd. It's almost impossible for me to believe that that can happen. Literally. Byron Nelson, PGA Championship, the Memorial Tournament won by Scheffler. Rockies, it's a baseball game you play every day. 3 wins. Scheffler banking money, like 8 figures for the month, and the Rockies lost 8 figures in payroll. minimum for the month. Do you think they look at each other like in the mirror? They're like, wow, one of us got this right. We'll be back. 3 minutes. Use the restroom. There is nothing worse than having your ace pitcher get hurt. Even when your best hitter gets hurt, you're fine. You're despondent, but you're not despondent beyond repair. The Arizona Diamondbacks have had a tough month. I did them a favor because I love you, Derek. I'm not gonna put you in the bad category, but it's been a rough month. Corbin Burnes was on the mound last night. And there's so many people on the Google who can read lips now. I'm not one of them. Corbin Burnes basically walked off the mound yesterday. Corbin Burnes basically said, apparently, my elbow's done. It's dead. He left the game, obviously complaining about his elbow. The good news is that Torey Lovullo, the manager, said after the game that Burnes is going to have an MRI. And the good news is that there's an opportunity that it's not Tommy John, that he didn't hear the pop that other pitchers hear. When you have a situation like that, and you have a guy signed to a 6-year, $210 million contract, you have a situation in your division where you're chasing the Dodgers and the Padres and the Giants, when there was an expectation that you were going to be in the playoffs, and you have underperformed, number one. Number two, your ace has not exactly been ace-like, but shown signs that he's going to be an ace, and that gives you cause and belief that it's going to happen for you because you get 31 to 34 starts and you can excuse the first 4. And then it ends. Corbin Burnes, once you say that you have an elbow problem, I'm going to take 1 second here, Coca. It's our first show like this. I don't know if you can all hear me. I hope you can, but I have tremendous things going on in my ear right now. Tremendous sounds and noises that are not me or you, Coca. Some sort of electric thing, like electric boogaloo in my ear, which can be mighty distracting when you're trying to talk. Not exactly sure how that happens. So I'm going to just talk louder, and I'm going to get right back to Corbin Burnes and pretend that everything's totally normal. So here's what you do when you're the Diamondbacks and you have this situation. You get him the MRI the next day, and then you sit him, and you do not bring him back for at least a month. And the reason why you have to let it go for a month is that you have to get any inflammation out. You have to get any possible problem gone, given that he's a 6-year player. This is when you change how you treat players according to where they are in their contract. If this were Corbin Burnes on a 1-year deal or in the final year of his contract, give him the MRI, make sure that everything is still structurally somewhat fine, even though no pitcher has a clean MRI at his age. When you're 30 years old, your elbow looks a little bit like Piscetti, and you have him pitch. You bring him out and say, hey, you're ready to go. When you're year 1 of 6'2", and you have a small issue in the standings, you've got a bullpen that basically is a sieve, you got to sit him. The way it'll work is that Corbin Burnes is not going to pitch for a while. As a matter of fact, Coca, we can even make that totally official. We're going to make it an official wait to see. Wait to see is when we tell you something's going to happen. And if it does, great. If it doesn't, fine. We even have a button we press on a wait to see where it goes, psh, and you see wait to see if you're watching this. Psh. Yeah. And we even have a lower if you're watching with the wait to see before I even say it, unless you're listening, in which case you're waiting for me to say that Corbin Burnes will be out until after the All-Star break at least. That is the official wait to see for Monday, June 2nd. Why? Because when you're pulled out of a game with an elbow injury, year 1 of a 6-year deal, you don't come back too quickly. And the All-Star break is only in 4 weeks. And when a pitcher misses a bit of time, you got to ramp him up. Unless his name is Shohei Ohtani, you may even need a rehab assignment. It all takes time. When we put people on the dose packs, the med packs, steroid packs, ice packs, 6-packs, 12-packs, you absolutely, that's a minimum of 7 days. Minimum. And then you start building up. God, they've had a problem in Arizona. They're missing Eduardo Rodriguez. They're missing Jordan Montgomery. Not that Jordan Montgomery was ever going to play. Didn't we get that wait to see right on Jordan Montgomery? The guy who the owner, Ken Kendrick, came out and said, this guy stinks. I can't believe we have him. And I said he'd never pitch again for Arizona. I'm pretty sure he hasn't pitched this whole season. I think they had him have Tommy John. Can you imagine doing a Tommy John on purpose just so a guy doesn't have to pitch? Do you think this is what players sometimes think that we would do with steroids and guaranteed deals? We're going to make your pee not stink. Do you think that players think that we're going in there and we're doing something with their elbow to give them Tommy John? Players would think that, and agents. No. Jordan Montgomery just is out. Diamondbacks season is on the brink, even though it's only early mid to mid-mid. That'll do it for Corbin Burnes. Something happened in Los Angeles yesterday, this weekend. It gave me, this is so bad, Coca. A piece of concrete fell out of Dodger Stadium from the top of Dodger Stadium and hit a fan. Now, I'm only laughing because it didn't hit him in the head and the guy didn't croak. I'm only laughing because it's a piece of concrete that happened to hit a Yankee fan in Dodger Stadium for that Yankee-Dodger series. I'm not even laughing. Hold on. Let me tell you why I'm really laughing. Because it's not nice, but it's so true. Look at that piece of concrete. Can you imagine? It's the size of a big rock. If that hits you in the dome, you're done. Like finished. There's nothing funny about that, except I'm not the president of the Dodgers. It's like my worst nightmare. When we were building the roof at Marlins Park, it was in my head because have you ever, this is a quick side note, Coca, but stay with me. If you ever look at home construction where you live, or look at your apartment building that was constructed, or wherever you happen to live, and you happen to go like underneath the basement, or you happen to go, let's just say, where there's places you normally wouldn't look, you're going to see trash. You're going to see like empty sippy cups, beer bottles, various things from the construction site. It's totally normal, but it always gives me the bejeebies. When we were building Marlins Park and we were putting the roof together, I say we very generously. I was there watching the thousands of workers who were doing all of the work on time and on budget. And I would always do from Camp Interlochen, reunion coming up soon for all of my friends in Milwaukee, the big sweep. The big sweep is what I do around my house to this day, every day, more than once a day, to keep it immaculate. What you do with the big sweep on a construction site, and it's part of your budget, is to clean the garbage. But the other thing that I would do was to make sure that there were not like things that I was worried when the roof was up, like, God, don't leave anything on one of the roof beams because when the roof opens, what if it falls on someone? Hey, let's make sure that we've screwed in every screw because if a screw falls on a player in center field or on a fan, you got a problem. Let's look at the roof joints. Let's look at everything. It's like you're the inspector when it's your team and you're at home. You're looking around because you're frantic about exactly what happened in LA this weekend. It's a straight nightmare. And I don't mean because of the money, because you can bet your sweet bippy the Dodgers have to write a check. That is a guarantee. A lot of you were laughing because you listened to Lebitard also, where I told you that when things happen to people at the ballpark, I evaluate, hey, is that worth a bat, a ball, an autograph, a picture? Is it worth a check? $1,000, $10,000, $50,000. How bad is it? Do I just replace your ice cream when you drop it? Or do you get domed by a piece of concrete? Hi, it's David Samson, president of the team. I want to say on behalf of all of us, we're very, very apologetic. If you would do me a favor and sign the following document, I would be more than happy to let you meet Shohei Ohtani. Oh, you're a Yankee fan. Give me a second. I will let you meet Aaron Judge. Hey, Hal, it's David. Hal, we got to get Judge out here. I mean, we're liable for 7 figures. This guy almost got clocked by a piece of concrete. You got to help me. Bring Judge out. Oh, just shake his hand, give him a jersey. I'll pay you back for the jersey. I'll thank Aaron Judge. I'll make a donation to his charity. But we got to have Aaron Judge meet this fan. He almost got hit in the head with a piece of concrete. Sir, I've got a whole plan ready for you. We take this stuff very seriously. We apologize on behalf of the greater Los Angeles metropolitan retro area. Do you know what that fan should have done, did do? No thanks. Don't think I'll be signing anything. Don't think I'll be meeting Aaron Judge today. Let me tell you what I will tell you. My back hurts. Uh-oh. It's the universal statement for show me the money. I mean, I really can't make fun of this, except to tell you that when you see a piece of concrete fall on a fan, you just know you got to write a check. They had a statement. The Dodgers had a great statement. I love this. This was Coca. Put a tear in my eye. The next day, which would have been yesterday or Saturday, I don't remember whether this happened Friday or Saturday because it was straight lover boy all weekend. Don't know. All of a sudden, the Dodgers came out. It was a Friday night game. Thank you, Coca. I don't hear you, but I did see you say that. All of a sudden, it comes out that the Dodgers have added netting. Have you ever been in New York City and you look up and you see netting where there's construction and you say, oh, that's good. If a person, place, or thing falls, I look up and the noun will get stuck in the netting. No problem. I always look at the size of the holes in the netting and say, if that's a penny, this is where my brain goes, that penny will fall through the netting. And then doink. And then I say to myself, what are the odds? And then you get a tattoo of the coyote. because you realize the odds are damn shot better than you figured. So the Dodgers place netting below the area where the boulder already fell. It's my favorite. I am more than happy to take my shoes off and my underwear because there was an underwear bomber and a shoe bomber in an airport. I don't think it's too late. I think it's the perfect time. I am more than happy to show you my good and plenty in black and red jelly beans, even though I can't discern because I get that people hide things in candy. Fine. I'm in. The whole netting after the boulder fell? I'd like there to be inspections. When I go into an elevator and I look at the inspection certificate and I look at the date, which I do every time I'm in the elevator, I don't like when there's a sign that says inspection available at management office. You know me. Hi, it's David. When was the last elevator inspection? Because I don't want to have to test the theory that when an elevator falls to the bottom floor, if you jump right as it falls to the bottom floor, you won't get hurt. I don't want to test that theory. That ridiculous thing that's been in my head my entire life since I was 4 years old, which is not my entire life, but close enough. It's when I moved and started living in elevators. Well, taking elevators. I think about that all the time. Show me the certificate. I want to see what date. And my hope is that the person doing it wasn't baked, wasn't just signing off, wasn't getting a little payola, that they really looked at the elevator and said, these cables look good. I'd like to believe there are building inspectors, because I know there are. We had to pay for a bunch of them to expedite them. It can be a racket, all right. But I'd like to believe they're looking for concrete. But a boulder falls, netting's put up, and the Dodgers have a statement. Ready? I'm going to deliver this, Coco, with a straight face, I promise you. We have had professionals and experts at Dodger Stadium this morning to examine the facility and ensure its safety. We will also be undertaking a longer-term review. Okay. Here's the thing. When you're hosting a game the next night, for the 50,000 people going to the game, the promise of a longer-term review doesn't quite give me the feel-goods. The longer-term review is usually what you do when a place is condemned. What do you think it's going to be, Coca? 7 figures? I don't think he got hurt, so I don't think he gets 7 figures. He did get to keep the boulder. You do get that. I think he's going to get some autograph stuff, and I think it's going to be a low 6-figure settlement. I'm thinking like $200,000, $250,000, write the check, have him sign off, give him a few things he can sell online, a few Ohtani jerseys, maybe a Judge something, but it's going to get 6 figures. Money. What would you do? I want to talk about this next. Cooper Flagg and the amount of money he made at Duke. This was a story this weekend where somehow, and it may be wrong, but some rumor that he made $28 million in NIL at Duke, and he only played there a year before going to the draft, and he's going to Dallas, as you recall, because Dallas won the lottery, as you recall, and Cooper Flagg will be the number 1 pick, as you recall. So I'm going to refer to Cooper Flagg going forward as a Maverick. I'm going to watch him and Nico hand in hand singing Kool and the Gang. Shout out to the Kool and the Gang member who passed away this weekend in a car crash. Why that's in my brain, I can't tell you, Coca. Why we're talking about Cooper Flagg right now when the NBA Finals haven't even started, forget the draft, is that if he made $28 million and they're saying it's a combination of Fanatics money and New Balance money, he's got a sneaker deal, he's got a car deal, there's no way he made $28 million in 1 year. There's no way the New Balance is going to pay him $13 million for a 1-year deal. He couldn't even wear their sneakers. I find it hard to believe that Fanatics was giving Cooper Flagg $15 million a year. But let's not impugn anybody who reported this story, and let's just say that he did get $28 million in NIL money. I have a question for you. Does that sound like the system's working or not working? I'd like to put a poll in the live chat right now. I don't know if anyone can do that because I don't see a live chat. I don't know if there is a live chat. I certainly can't hear it. But if it's happening, is Cooper Flagg getting $28 million in NIL money good or bad? Two choices. I believe there's a big number of you who will say this is the way it should be. A man should earn what a man can earn. And a woman, person, someone's going to pay it. You got to take it. Love that. I may even subscribe to that point of view. Maybe. What about the other side of that? If Cooper Flagg has companies who are giving him money, is it because he went to Duke for a year? What is the upside of going to Duke for a year for Cooper Flagg? I was racking my brain trying to think of, did it improve his draft position? And then I was told by my good friends at Stats Inc. LP is that Cooper Flagg was the consensus number one before the season even started. When you're the consensus number one, I believe there's only one way to go, and that's down. Now, it is true Cooper Flagg did not go down, but he didn't go up. He's still a 1-1. So that can't be a reason to go to Duke. Under the great tutelage of Coach K. No, that can't be the reason. Coach K is not there. All right, let me think of another one. In order to give yourself exposure to companies in order to become a professional endorser. No, that's not it either. All right, hold on. I'm going to come up with it. In order to go to a school to further your education and learn in the classroom so that you can be a smarter person, more informed. No, that's not it either. I'm out of it, Coca. I'm out of options. I can't think of one reason like, because the NCAA makes all this money from CBS and other networks for its March Madness tournament. And the fact that Charlie, I'm not quite Baker, said that we may go to 72 to 76 teams because there's more money involved. And then rumors came out that, hey, I don't know which networks are saying they're going to pay for more games that are good. John Skipper telling you in a sporting class, we always want more games. We'd always want a bigger tournament. And then me telling you that it doesn't matter one tinker's damn who plays in the tournament. Cooper Flagg being on Duke, not being on Duke, has zero impact on the rights fees for the tournament. Zero. It may not be right for everybody, but Cooper Flagg had no business going to Duke. If you are in the position where you're able to monetize yourself, why would you ever risk lack of performance or injury? When there's no upside, think of any game you play, any argument you have, any conversation you have. If there's no upside, why do you engage in the activity or the conversation? Don't you have to evaluate what your upside is? Don't you have to say to yourself, here's what I'm doing it for? Whatever reasons you have, and I'm not going to judge your reasons, whether they're money, fame, power, love, religion, don't care. Whatever you do anything, don't do it in a pointless way. Don't do it without a goal. Cooper Flagg's goal, make money? In. You don't need Duke for that. There are a whole bunch of players, given the amount of money that may exist now with NILs and deals that can be signed, and college players who now can take money over the table, not under the table or on the side table. You don't need collectives. You don't need boosters. You don't need guys going to prison. You don't need guys losing their Heisman Trophy award. You don't need any of it. All you got to do is do a deal, cut a deal, cash the check, yours, win money. What's amazing is that if you think that you've seen player empowerment before, you haven't. You're seeing it now. Do you know that players can now dictate exactly what they want, where they want to get it from, as though they're just regular employees of regular companies who can decide where they want to live, where they want to work? Oh, was that the point? Should players have the same rights as any other employee in any other job in any other sector? That seems to be what you're all desiring. It seems to be what an overwhelming majority of you say to me in comments at David P. Samson, that, hey, these players, let them earn anything, the most possible. Here's what results in that. When you allow college athletes to do what they're doing right now, you have made college into the minor league system of the professional sport. You have made it so eventually teams will want to control the college game. It will no longer be looked at as an independent entity. The future of college sports is under the umbrella of professional sports because it is the same financial model. When teams are deciding how they're going to spend their draft pick and who they want on their team, do you think they want to compete with Duke or Kentucky or James Madison or St. John's? Do you think they want the threat of, hey, I could just run it back? Do you think the NBA has a great interest in the next CBA of having the players union say, we got to raise these minimum rookie deals because we're not going to get any players in the NBA? Because all the good players are incentivized to stay in college because of all the money they're making. Do you not see the imbalance of power that is beginning to form and how that could lead to talent? Listen, there's a world where you don't even need to be in the NBA or in college. If you are of the opinion that you can get NIL deals and you can get sponsorship deals and these companies are all about the individual brand, wait a minute. It's social media. Think about the social media influencers. Who are they associated with? Themselves. When you look at whether it's Bieber selling a cosmetic company for $1 billion or Jenner or Kardashian or the people, Mr. Beast, getting quadrillions of downloads and views for his videos, what are they part of exactly? What union are they part of? All right, Coca, it's time. Ready? The nothing personal pick of the day. Yeah. Do you like your new toys, Coca? I think you do. I do. Nothing personal pick of the day. How was our weekend? Max Fried. They were favored over the Dodgers on Friday night. God, how is that even possible? How is it even possible that Max Fried lost to the Dodgers? He did. That's the game Friday night when Ohtani and Judge went deep. We lost that one. Do you know what else we lost? We had the run line parlay that would have paid plus 246 with the Tigers and Phillies in the run line. We had Scooble going for the Tigers. We had Luzardo going for the Phillies. Can you show Luzardo's line to the people watching this show and listening to this show? I believe he gave up 69 runs on 74 hits over the course of 2.1 innings. Holy Christmas, did he get crushed, Lloyd? Forget Luzardo and the Phillies in the run line. They lost. I believe the final score of the game was a tidy 17-7 to the Brew Crew. So that was it for my parlay. But don't worry, I had the second part nailed. Scooble pitched great. Tigers run line. They lost the game 1-0. That was a terrible wager. I got seduced by the plus 246. We all get seduced by something, don't we, Mrs. Robinson? We do. So that's 0-2. I needed something. I needed Patrick Corbin to stink because Saturday was Corbin Day. Boom. Corbin actually pitched well. But the good news is the Texas Rangers can't hit. The good news is they fired their hitting coach. The good news is the Texas Rangers still can't hit. Hi, I've tried it. Fired pitching coaches, hitting coaches, bullpen coaches, catching coordinators. Fire them all. And then you get there the next day and you're like, oh, we got the same hitters. Don't worry, it's a new voice. It's a new approach. We're going to keep it simple, stupid. No more video. No more T work. A lot more video. A lot more T work. We're going to change everything. When we said black, we're going to go white. Oh, wait a minute. It's the same players. Do you know how Brett Boone is done as hitting coach of the Texas Rangers? Exactly the way the previous hitting coach did. Uh-oh. It may be a problem with the players. Don't say anything because Chris Young, the president of baseball ops, just got an extension. They won a World Series only a couple of years ago. Don't say anything. It's all going to be fine. Except Patrick Corbin, when we go against him and he pitches well, it doesn't matter if his team doesn't get him runs, in which case the Cardinals win, which they did. Then it gets us to Saturday night. Saturday night's all right for fighting if you've got the Pacers -4 over the Knicks in the triple reverse mush, and we did. So we went 2-2. I got 2 picks for you today. Big series. Coca, you're going to be up late, baby, and up early. Mets are +140 over the Dodgers. If you take the Mets 3 straight times, they're not going to be swept. They are just as likely to win 2 out of 3. We're taking the Mets +140, not only because Mookie Betts is still not playing. He didn't play against the Yankees either, but just because I think the Mets are better than being +140 to anybody. And the second one I want to take your attention to is another underdog, Severino and the Ass, who can't win a game against the Great May Twinkies. We're taking Severino. Severino at home, +136. He's been the only bright spot in a team that can't win a game at home anywhere. But +136, we are in. Those are the nothing personal picks of the day. All right, we're going to take a break. Quick one. When we're back, we're going to catch you up on something that's happening with Zion Williamson. And if you are Zion Williamson or the Pelicans, this is not going to be a fun story to listen to. We'll talk about it after the break. Welcome back to Nothing Personal. It's David Samson. We are in hour 2. It's the first 2-hour show we've done here at Nothing Personal. Thank you for being with us. Thank you to everyone who got this show off the ground and ready for today. It's been almost perfect, which is sort of like almost famous. This weekend, a lawsuit was announced against Zion Williamson, and it was not a pleasant one. He is being accused of rape, sexual, physical, emotional, and financial abuse by a woman, Jane Doe, who basically accused Zion of unthinkable things during the course of a 5-year relationship. This woman filed a 12-page civil complaint. ESPN got a hold of it. It claims that Zion Williamson performed these horrific acts in multiple states. Zion Williamson signed a max deal with the Pelicans a couple years ago, except it wasn't a normal max deal. We talked about it and we covered it on Nothing Personal. It had clauses about weight. It had clauses about injury. You see, Zion Williamson has been a bust for the Pelicans. Zion Williamson has not helped that team. He's been nothing but surus, heartache, headache, and a big pile of injury. He's the worst type of player because when he plays, you're seduced into thinking that he's good and the team can be good. And every year it's the same. Every year he's hurt. Off-field distractions. But this has now gone to another level. This is not what we call an off-field distraction. That's a Big Mac. When you've got a player who eats his way out of shape, can deal with that. When you've got a player who hurts various soft tissue injuries, a hammy, an ankle, a hip, an oblique, a sphincter, all the different things that can happen to a player, can deal with that. Now it's gone too far. Anyone can accuse anyone of anything. I understand that. The fact of the matter is that the New Orleans Pelicans and the NBA are going to have to investigate this, and they already started off on the wrong foot, where the Pelicans and the NBA, hands off. They had nothing to say after this became public because they said, hey, talk to Zion's attorneys. That's a bunch of horse hockey. If I had a player who had these accusations made, you can bet that I would have a statement, and it would be ordinary. We take these things seriously. We're investigating. We're cooperating with the authorities in the NBA. We'll have nothing further to say. That's fine. I always wanted to have statements that said something a little deeper, that said we find these sort of actions deplorable. Zion Williamson's attorneys said, "We take these allegations with the utmost seriousness. We unequivocally deny them." It's my favorite when you unequivocally deny them, because you don't want to equivocally deny something. You don't want to partially deny something, because when you're accused of something like this, you've got to say it's unequivocal. I love when we talk in hyperbole like that, because we need to let you know seriously. Now I'm being serious. Before, not so serious. If I'm accused of something just not as bad, that doesn't sound as bad or career ending, then I'm just going to deny it. I don't need to unequivocally deny it. But when it comes to this and abuse and rape, we better go with unequivocal. All right. We take these allegations with the utmost seriousness. Utmost, that's very important. We unequivocally deny them. Okay, what else? The allegations contained in the complaint are categorically false. Not just false, categorically false. This is a lot of adjectives. And reckless. I assume they're talking about the person who's accusing, the woman Jane Doe is accusing them. It's reckless to accuse. I guess they think she's just after money. Go for the settlement. That happens to famous people. Happens to not famous people. You make a decision. You fight it. You don't fight it. You fight it with statements. Here's what you do if the New Orleans Pelicans. You fight it with a release. Now, before you at me at David P. Samson, just hear me out. What has Zion Williamson done for the Pelicans? Out of curiosity, you signed him to a contract that gave you outs if he didn't perform, if he didn't play, if he got fat. All of those triggered outs are now available to you because he didn't play in the minimum number of games required to make his contract guaranteed. He's got 3 years left at an ungodly amount, like $39 million per year for 3 years. Why do you want him on your team taking up that salary cap space? It's not like the NFL. There's no dead cap space associated with it. You release him now, you don't owe him a penny. He's gone. Oh, but David, how do you replace a talent like that? Like what? I'm as good as Zion Williamson. Why? I play as many games as he does. What's the difference? When you have an opportunity to take advantage of a contractual advantage that you have, that was so sloppy. 4869. Not just the last 4 digits of a phone number. It's when we restart things, even though we're live. When you have a contractual provision that is to your benefit, and you are imagining a scenario where that contractual benefit actually comes to life, and then you let it go, why did you fight for it in the first place? The whole reason to take advantage of a situation that is a downside scenario protection situation is when the downside scenario happens. How do you not think that the Zion Williamson puts the Dow in downside? I'm telling you right now, if the Pelicans were smart, they'd release him. I'm also telling you right now, the reason it's not an official way to see is I don't think the Pelicans are that smart. I don't think they're willing to take the risk, because they're going to say, what if this is the year? What if Zion wakes up and he's totally innocent? He didn't do this to this woman. And what if he wakes up and all of a sudden he doesn't get hurt and he gives you 81 large and he finishes 3rd in the MVP or 2nd in the MVP and the team goes to the conference finals? True. I could wake up and be 6'5" with a six-pack. Boy, did I make a mistake on May 27th. I told you the Royals would be idiots to call up Jack Caglianone. That power hitter, top prospect for the Royals. Why would you call him up before June 17th or later? Because you can get an extra year without arbitration. The Royals are not playing well enough to warrant taking that sort of financial risk. But they did last night. The Royals are calling him up, and everyone is celebrating. I like that. I like when everyone gets to tweet, "This is good for baseball. A great slugging prospect is coming in to the big leagues." It is so irresponsible, because they're going to be the same media people who in 3 years are like, "Oh, he's too expensive. The Royals have to trade him. Oh, it's such a problem with baseball. Oh, it's not good." When you are a low revenue, low payroll team and you have the opportunity to manipulate service time to your advantage, you have to do it. It's not like it's an option. It's irresponsible not to. It is true the Royals haven't won consecutive games since the middle of May. Fine. It is true that he's 22 and crushing the ball in AAA after doing the same thing in AA. Fine. It is true that a day before my prediction, the GM said, hey, if you're going to break in a great player, you got to do it when your team's hot. That's when you bring him in. The Royals ain't hot. What exactly made the Royals call him up? Was it pressure from members of the media? Boy, you better hope not if you're in Kansas City. You better hope your baseball operations department isn't run by reading the tweets of some guy who doesn't know crap on another network. Maybe that's the case. Feeling the pressure. Tired of the negativity. You just cost yourself millions of dollars. Now, I'm not being grumpy, Coca. This is not me saying to you, oh, I'm the Grinch, the face of corporate greed and manipulation. It's called running a smart business. We all should do it. We should all aim to do it. Calling up Jack yesterday night is not good business. Hard stop. 4869. I would like to congratulate Jack Caglianone on your call up to the big leagues. It is so exciting when you get your opportunity as a top prospect to come up to the big leagues and start mashing on a big league team, to start learning at the feet of Bobby Witt Jr. and the great manager and front office in Kansas City. Your opportunity to come and know that it's harder to stay than it is to arrive, but you, sir, have an opportunity for greatness. I am so proud and honored to announce this call-up and letting you know that the Royals did the exact right thing as they try to salvage their season in a division with the best team in baseball, Detroit Tigers. You got that, Coco? We can use either one. I'm good either way. No, I'm not. Use the first one, obviously. There's a bunch of things that happen during the course of a day in a career. This one happened to me plenty. Without getting too serious here in hour two, I will tell you that, yes, I had death threats against me. I had people saying things online that were not nice. I still have that. Even people who I work with. That said, there are certain things that you have to expect when you're in public and certain things that you shouldn't tolerate when you're in public. There is a level of online abuse that is happening toward players that is simply out of control, and it's getting a lot more attention. There are people who will tell you that Lance McCullers and the online death threats that he's received, people will talk to you about different players telling you different things, telling you that it's gamblers, people who are losing money or losing parlays or losing individual prop bets. We are a show you're watching on DraftKings Network. We are a show sponsored by DraftKings. I get it. There is no way. It is the equivalent of blaming Pepsi for people drinking too much Pepsi and being upset when their teeth rot from the sugar or they gain weight or get a stomachache. What the gambling companies have done is they have brought business to a business that the consumers want and have proven that they want. Is there a downside? There's a downside to every single business that exists. There is no perfect business with zero negativity, zero risk associated with it. What relationship do you have with anyone? Hey, it's all good, no bad. No downside scenario here. There's no base case, downside case. There's only upside. There's only butterflies and unicorns. You know where I am with guns and the Second Amendment, but I ask you, when people manufacture a gun and there are laws in how guns are supposed to be licensed and distributed and used, You have to imagine there's certain things that are not tolerated, that are against the law. By the way, not the fault of the gun maker. It is not the fault of any gambling company or a team or anybody when people engage in online abuse. It's not the fault of the person who owns Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. It is the responsibility of our community, of our legal system, to punish these people with every possible law that is applicable and punish them to the maximum amount allowed under law, and maybe even appeal to our legislative branch and change the laws just a little bit to make it even more damaging to engage in online threats. Because here's a suggestion to all of you who think you can hide behind your keyboard. You're going to be found. It has nothing to do with the deep state and people looking through your camera. It has nothing to do with you thinking you're on the dark web or that you're hitting a bunch of buttons with a bunch of fake names where you have no way of being found. Trust me. I've been in the meetings with MLB security, with former members of the FBI, with current people in Washington, with current state authorities. Trust me, you're going to be found. Take it as a challenge all you want with your keyboard courage. These players have every right to be angry about death threats, to be upset about what's in their DMs. No matter how much money you make, no matter how public you are, there is a line that you cannot cross, period. Death threats because you don't like your team or the player didn't play well or you didn't win your bet? Really? Let's see how it goes from prison. I am more than happy to be told that you don't like my show, you don't like me personally, you don't think I'm attractive. I'm happy to hear you say any of it. You can believe any of it. I'm in. It's a free country still. But you do not have the right to put me or my family in danger. And that is all these players are saying. Christian Yelich, a good friend, a great player. When he comes out and says that over the last few years it's definitely increased, when he comes out saying that it's so bad that he doesn't even think about it anymore, when he's so used to the yelling day in, day out, that's not the threshold, Christian. That comes with the territory, the anger, the frustration, the mocking. You know what doesn't? Death threats. All of the other things. Don't forget, Liam Hendriks had a whole situation that took place. A bunch of players have come out on this subject about online abuse. This is not me in favor of online abuse. This is me against death threats. I do not agree with anyone who is so ridiculous as to be angry with players for their performance because they lost a bet. Take a look inside yourself. People booing me, I'm in. People getting into my DMs and telling me I stink or going on X or doing whatever they do, I'm in with all of it. And so are players. They get it. It's like a movie star saying, oh, I don't want to read a bad review. It's going to happen if you're going to be good over the course of decades. Good, bad. People who always think that what you're doing is bad. Do you not see a difference between that and a death threat? I'm getting worked up, Coca, and I don't want to be worked up at the end of a second hour of the first day we're doing this. I want to celebrate the fact that we put this show together the way we did. But my anger comes from you not understanding, not you, Coca, not you who's listening, you, capital Y in general. My anger and frustration comes from people not realizing the impact that has. Players can get past it. Executives can get past it when you make fun of their performance. You know what you don't get past? When you survive cancer and you have a bad outing and people get into your DMs and say, man, I just wish you would have croaked. I wish the cancer would have killed you because then you wouldn't have given up the runs. Is that a good one? Make you feel good? When you make Lance McCullers get full-time security because he thinks that he and his kids are in danger because you threatened his kids' lives because he gave up runs? Is that good? Is that a good one? Why would you in any way No matter how sick and demented you are, no matter how poor, rich, don't care, no matter how crazy it is what happened on the field, on the court, why would anyone think that makes sense? What brain says, oh, I get it. I lost my lunch money, therefore I'm going to threaten this player and wish him dead? It's infuriating. Dan Uggla, I miss you. Who remembers Dan Uggla at the All-Star game in New York committing multiple errors? Anybody? Is it just me? Coco, what year was that? I can't remember for the life of me. I'm going to say 07, 08. Some year when Dan Uggla was really good. He was named an All-Star, committed a bunch of errors, and I saw Dan Uggla. I don't hear you, Coco, if you're talking. 2008. I don't remember the number of errors he committed, but it was 3 errors in the All-Star. My God, do you know how bad that is? Danny Uggla, you know I love you. Do you remember what we talked about when you came back and reported after the All-Star game? Because after the All-Star break, you come back and we do a workout. And I looked at you and I gave you a hug. And you looked at me and you laughed. Because you knew I was going to bring it up. I was like, hey, great job at the All-Star game. He laughed. I laughed. And the reason we laughed is that sports, business, life, sometimes it's just not going to work out. Sometimes you're going to be the bug, and sometimes you're going to be the windshield. Miss you, Big John. But every once in a while, you're going to have that moment where you've got to persevere and you've got to figure out, is this going to be okay? There's a Miami Marlins rookie named Ronnie Simon, got called up. He made 3 errors in a game last week. He got out of the game, cries, goes to the clubhouse, and days later, the Marlins designated for assignment, take him off the roster. And people are out there saying, oh, is it because of all the errors he made? No, it's roster definition. It's roster size, roster crunch. It's players getting healthy. It's players who have options, players who don't. When you need a roster spot, all that. You don't release a player because they commit 3 errors. You don't even release a player if they get the yips. You wait for the yips to last a while. But here's the thing about all the encouragement that Mr. Simon got from around baseball when he committed those errors. There were players for the other team on the Padres who were patting him on the butt saying, you've got this, it's all going to be good. There were players in his own clubhouse, players in clubhouses where the teams weren't even playing. It wasn't the Padres or the Marlins, giving this player encouragement because he showed humanity. He showed that it hurts. You can cover up hurt with laughing. You can cover up hurt with tears. We all feel hurt. We all get nervous. What I appreciate about Ronnie Simon is that he owned up to the errors. He owned up to his emotion, and everything's going to be okay, whether you're designated or not. One of the things about running a baseball team or any business is that sometimes things look coincidental and they're not. He was going to be designated in any case, whether he made the 3 errors. Why? It makes perfect sense. Because when you're running anything, from baseball to basketball to apple pie to a ladder widget company, you have to say, sorry about that, but it's just business. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. with a guest. Get ready. This is nothing personal.